What's up, and welcome to another episode of the LWG podcast. I am your host, Eslam, aka Rock God of the Sun, accompanied by Dan, Papa Sun Killer, and Dan, aka Emperor Disco. How's it going, fellas?
It's going pretty good. Busy week, being Thanksgiving and all, but we made it. We're here and we're ready to rock and roll. I don't know where all this energy came from.
He was just saying how tired he was. How
Yeah,
he had no energy. Like
yeah,
it's rough. This man's just coming out here just like about
dude.
to do a backflip.
Let's start with the main topic.
What are we talking about?
Andor
Sesson.
season
This man said
season.
Sesson.
It's Sasson, okay? You got it. You're Spanish. You're supposed
That's
to
not how
know
you spell
this.
That's
Sasson
not how you.
either. That's like
Sasson
that
has
has
a
nothing.
Z.
I know.
There's
Shut
an
up.
A in it, and Sasson you have no A's.
That's Russian or some shit.
All right, so let's do this again. Main topic.
We gave you no chance to get through that. Like now, you fix that right now.
Andor season 1 finale review. And now you can see how this episode's going to go. So we saw the first 3 episodes and we uh, reviewed them in an earlier video. Go check that out. And then we started obviously continuing watching. We usually do that. We'll either watch the first episode of the show that comes out and then we'll review the rest of it once the season's over. With Andor, the first I gotta say the first 4 episodes were kind of really slow, and it was like a very slow burn and slowly building, and then it started picking up real quick, and they did great tension building throughout the little mini arcs within the overall arc of the whole season when he was in prison, the funeral, and all these little pieces. In each episode, there was like a this slow burn with the story. The score followed along, and it slowly kept getting more tension. And the music was just phenomenal in the pacing and how the music followed the story. Oh man, it was just I was watching like these last 3 episodes, and I was literally at the edge of my seat the whole time. I have to say, Star Wars Rogue One reimagined what a Star Wars movie could be to me, and it doesn't have to be just about the Jedi or the Sith or whatever. We can have these other um, stories, and they could be just as powerful. And then we got more. Then Star Wars started making TV series. We got our Mandalorian. We had our Boba Fett and other shows. But then Andor did the same thing as Star Wars Rogue One. It reinvented the Star Wars TV show and how great and phenomenal the story, dialogue, and everything can be, where it's just not formulaic episodes. And my God, man, this season blew me out the water. It was so good. I really enjoyed the hell out of this show. It was just, I can't wait for season 2, and I'm really excited to get into a lot more spoilers. But that is like my initial thought and review of like the whole season in quick fashion, yeah, spoiler free.
I'll piggyback off you. I I don't I agree with what you said for the most part, but I don't think the whole season was so good. I felt like the last couple episodes did it for me though. The last couple episodes are when it started, like, for me, really started getting traction, and like you said, tension was building, and I was actually interested at that point. Um but for the first half of it, I was very, like, man, dreading every episode. Like, I man, the dialogue and all the stuff wasn't really doing it for me in the beginning. I just didn't feel like there was enough, like, enough to, like, pique my, I don't know, my interest, my dialogue and content level. But slight spoiler, after the heist, that's when for me it was just like, oh, okay, now I want to watch this show. Um, but Yeah, it ended pretty strong for me. I'm not gonna say it's like the best show because I'm not like a super big Star Wars fan like you guys. I like it, but I'm not like in love like you guys. And so from my perspective, it was a good show, but not like award winning or anything crazy like that. I'll leave it there.
Alright. Yeah, so I'm kind of like in between where you guys are at. The I agree with Disco 100%. Like the first like half of the show was kind of like slow. It was one of those where it's just like you know me guys, like whenever it's like if you're not starting off high impact intense, like why should I stick around? And that's one of those things where if I wasn't doing a podcast where I was going to talk about the show, I'm not gonna lie, they would have lost me in the first couple episodes. I would not have come back. But I was just like, you know what, let me watch it, and I was like, I love Rogue One, I love the story. I want to see it get there. I want to see it get to that point. And kind of like where Disco said, after the heist, it got good. Like that's where it was like, oh, okay, let's do this. Now I'm all in for this show. Like before that, it was kind of just like, all right, let me watch an episode. Let me get in there. Let me do what I got to do. But in the end, I feel like it was strong. One thing I still got to say though, believe it or not, in terms of like characters specifically, I don't know if there's any one character I care about in this entire series. Like it's cool, like it's good in terms of a Star Wars show. Compared to Book of Boba Fett, compared to Mandalorian, yeah, I like this better than those easily, hands down. But it's still like it's kind of like it felt like there was missing something. Like the episodes got good towards the middle, and then from the middle on, but everything before that was kind of like, I'm having fun here and there, but it wasn't too great. I feel like it ended strong. It did end strong though.
Yeah. I totally agree with you with that sentiment where like there was no main one character that stole my heart or was just like I was rooting for. It was just kind of like
Maybe
okay,
the
I'm
droid. Maybe
maybe I liked the mother, but
she was cool. She was
that
alright.
that goes only so far.
Yeah.
For characters, I have to agree. Like, I guess they tried to make Diego Luno's character Cassian Andor that, but at the end of the day, whether knowing he's just gonna die at the end of all of this, or most of these people are gonna die because they are the rebels, and this is like they know that their job is eventually will lead to their death. Like, and Skellen Skarsgård, I think that's how you say his first name.
Yeah,
Uh,
something like
he
that.
he in one of his speech towards the end, he talked about that, and it was very powerful. It's one of three speeches that happened in the last three episodes that were like, I don't know, the writing really stood out to me, and I have clips of them that we'll play later and kind of talk about, but I think I agree with you guys, and I wonder if the writers did that on purpose, not make you fall in love with any of these characters. Their story is powerful because it's not about the individual; it's about the rebellion. It's about the bigger picture of fighting the empire, and there's not one face of that rebellion. There's no one person that is the face of the rebellion. It's all the people, and if this was their true, I'm sure other people might disagree with us in their love of these characters, but for me also, I wasn't really attached to anybody. I knew any of these people could die at any second, and uh, there's a detachment with that, but at the same time, I'm just as interested in their story because I know of the greater purpose, and that is something that was carried on in the show's dialogue at all times, especially with the two female characters that the blonde one is really into the other one, but the other one's like, "Hey, we got to focus on our mission.
Yeah.
That comes first." And
Velen
she's
We, we,
trying,
Stinta.
we get whatever's left over.
yeah, and she's and the other one's really trying to have a relationship with her, and Cinta's like, "Nah, no, no, no. This is what we promised. This is the fight that we chose, and this has to come first above all."
This is what we
And
signed up for.
exactly, and I think that really comes off well in the writing and the performances from these actors, and the way they portrayed their characters. So yeah, I think that does happen. That we shouldn't maybe be able to get attached to any of these characters. but they were powerful characters in my opinion, especially Skellen Skarsgård and the mother at the end, and the kid that died on the heist, the one that was full of hope and like
Oh, the one
these
from Black Mirror.
Yeah, yeah. The one character actually, now that you're mentioning him, is Nemec. Are we going into spoilers? Can we? Since we're
Yeah,
talking
let's
about it,
jump into spoilers. Go ahead.
Nemec during the heist when he, I was actually starting to like him because he was weird, but he was like a good natured, and he was actually nice to Andor when
Hmm.
everybody was just like, "Who is this guy? I don't know. He's new. I don't like," because they're all like anxious, pre
Hmm.
heist jitters.
Yeah.
But he was actually kind of nice, and then at the end of the day, he saved them, and then he died for it.
Yeah.
That was probably like the only character that was like, "Damn, I wanted to see him go like further," but he did it. I was shocked with the other guy from the heist.
Hmm.
I've seen him in Girls. His name is Eben Moss Backrack. In real life, his character name is Arvel Skeen.
The one
The
that
one that
Cassian
after the
killed.
heist, the one after the heist, where he was like, "Let's just take the money and go,"
Hmm.
Yeah.
and then Cass was just like, I
Yeah.
Yeah.
that actually took me by surprise. I liked him from Girls, and I've seen him around other places, The Bear, different shows. So I
Hmm.
kind of like
He's
had
a
this
great actor.
this
Yes, I've
attachment
seen
to
him in
him.
multiple
So
stuff.
I wanted to like him, and the other guy Nemec, but they both died at the
Yeah,
beginning. So I was
exactly.
like,
That's the whole point.
so it
This
was
is like Suicide Squad on steroids. You know what I
yeah.
mean? It's
So
they're all dying. It
so
is what it is.
so it is pretty interesting what they're doing with the characters, and then now that you mentioned the speech and then no names and like no one face, it kind of like makes more sense. But
Hmm.
yeah, so it's kind of interesting. I wonder if that was on purpose or whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's on purpose. Like, I get where you guys are coming from with the whole like, yeah, you're not supposed to care about the characters, but it's like, look at Rogue One. I cared about every single member of the Rogue One squad,
Hmm.
and we know how that ended.
I
This
remember
one,
not one of their names, but
Finn.
that could be just my Alzheimer's.
my man said Finn, a completely different movie. Oh man, but no. Anyway, I cared about them. These
Okay.
people I don't care about. Even Nemec. If you never would have said the name Nemec, I would be like, yeah, just the guy from Black Mirror. Oh yeah, look, he's the hopeful guy who. It was like as soon as I saw, him, I was like, oh bro, you're gonna die. Like, it's like
I
I
wa-
know you're not gonna make it.
I wanted to have faith in him. I wanted to see him have like a growth.
Yeah.
How the soft people usually get hard and like become actual forces to be reckoned with. Like you see character growth,
No,
but
I know
they
what you're
they
talking about.
were
Yeah,
they
no,
were
that
like,
man had
nah.
death written all over him. Like as soon as I saw, I was like, this man is going to die. I'd be surprised if he makes it out of the next couple episodes.
You're like
But
his soft ass.
But no, he's built for that. It was perfect. He's the only person, like you said, he's the only person that Andor, like he was kind of winning Andor over or whatever. And then Andor's like, you know what, yeah, rebellion, I guess, blah blah blah, whatever. And then he dies, and then it's like one of the people that like lives on, and then Andor carries that with him. But
for the heist, I was really enjoying how the tension of bringing in someone new a couple days before the heist, and how they were all strung up. They were like, "No, like, what is
I'm getting a
this?"
phone call. I'm gonna dip for a sec.
All right, cool. How they were, how they were like very. You saw their dedication and their will to survive, and bringing in someone new and someone that could possibly ruin this whole thing, and the tension that brought between them. And tension is a very strong uh, tool that gets used in the show throughout everything. You see the tension building up before the heist, and then boom, they actually pull it off. Then
Yeah, they were all acutely aware of how risky it was too, and
yeah,
and like you said, you could just see it in their eyes, their tension between the characters. It was well written,
it
that part.
really was. And then you jump into Cassian on this other planet. He has the money. It's all well. And then he gets caught for something he didn't do. He gets arrested for something he didn't do. He gets sentenced to 6 years for literally nothing. And then he goes to this prison.
They were like, "You're running." I was
He
like,
was
"Oh
literally walking.
hell,
Yeah.
what?" Yeah, I
Yeah.
was blown away. I was like, "That's worse than jaywalking." Like,
Yeah. Uh, so they get sent to this prison where it's pretty much a labor camp, like a labor prison, where they're building parts. And we spend what 3 episodes on this?
Yeah, yeah. The
Three,
factory
two or
fascinated me. It was one of my favorite, favorite
little mini
parts, little
arcs.
mini
Yeah.
arcs in the season.
So they're in this factory creating this piece of thing, and it's almost in the background, like it means nothing, but it's about their story that how they interact with each other, the how things are being done within the prison, and how they are going to escape. And that tension of how they were speaking to each other through the glass, and how slowly, oh, did you hear what happened on level 2? They all got like killed, blah 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 blah. And like Andor's like, there's no one's getting out. You're all working these shifts for no reason. They're just gonna keep there. That's it. You're done. You're gonna be in here for
Yeah,
life until the day you die.
yeah,
You. That's it.
yeah. Andor
And
found out that when you finish your shift and do your time, they just send you back to another level. So you're
no,
always
not
gonna.
even. So there's like multiple factories.
I see.
So instead of sending them to another factory, they accidentally sent them from one level to the other, and they recognized that, and they had to just kill them all so word doesn't get around. So they just keep switching the
I
prisoners.
didn't. I didn't think it was an accident. I thought they were doing it on purpose. They were just keeping them there forever so they can have free
No,
labor.
I understand, but if you go from one level to the next, you're not going to be able to. You're in the same prison, you're going to get word out to the others. But if you go from one prison to the other prison, because there was multiple factories that were prisons on that planet, it wasn't just one. We only concentrate on the one that Andor was in, but there was multiple, if you remember. Whatever, that's besides the point. But um, they escape, and what's his name?
Andy
Uh,
Circus.
Thank you. His character was really cool in the show, and I was hoping to see more of him after the escape, and then he just couldn't swim. I was like, "Come on, man! Like,
I
someone help
started
a brother
laughing
out."
so hard when he said that. I was just like, wow. Like,
I
He
was like,
stood
"God,
back. I was like, "Oh man!" After all that, he's
yo!"
not
He's
even
like,
gonna
"I can't
try. Like,
swim."
you
Yeah,
know, because now that you mentioned it, yeah, he's probably the one person I did like in this show. It was Andy
he was
Circus.
great, man, and
Yeah, he's
Andy
great.
Serkis is a
I mean, he's
phenomenal
the.
actor.
Let's be real. He, and like Forrest Whitaker are probably the best actors in this entire show.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
You'd
it's
be.
like, no,
Uh,
just Andy Serkis was amazing. The whole prison stuff was probably my favorite throughout
yeah,
the show. Like the prison, like not even just the prison break. Like when he first gets in there and then you
yeah,
see how everything works. It was like those episodes in particular stood out to me. I feel like those were the highlight of the show. That and I very much did like the finale.
yes,
yeah.
I agree.
You'd be surprised how many people don't know how to swim. I read this article
Right here.
about this bridge in India like
Yeah,
collapsed and they fell into water and it didn't even look deep, but just none of them knew how to swim. It was so a lot of them died and
yeah.
Yeah.
it blew my mind. I was like, wow, I
Well,
guess
the issue is that people will panic, and the panic is what
That's
gets you exhausted in the water, and then you're pretty much killing yourself because of the panic. If you calm down, you can kind of float.
that's what I do. Like I
You
can't
know?
swim, but that's exactly what it is. I
Yeah,
do know how to float. I can like not swim, but I can like move myself to where
yeah.
I need to get to in water. Like it's not so much swimming.
If you can do
Uh,
that, especially they were in like in a river,
I mean,
they
yeah,
would
the
have
water's moving you
they
anyway, so you're
yeah
just kind of
you
like
would have
trying to.
hit
Yeah,
the beach or something. But yeah, they
exa-
panicked. They were probably over each other, pushing people down, trying to, and
yeah.
who knows. But
People climbing and pushing down
yeah,
like a stampede. but
yeah. If I was in that prison with all of them, you would have seen everybody jump in the water swimming, and then you just see me just floating, just like kind of pushing. Like I got this. I got this.
I'll be there next week. They just pick your ass up. They're in a boat just passing you. They're like, "We'll come back for this one later. He ain't going nowhere." And they just go after the others.
They come back a week later. I'm like 15 feet away from like the where they jumped
Yeah,
out.
they're like, "Should we
oh,
give him more
Andy
time?"
almost
Serkis
there.
has been yelling at me the whole time. You can do
One
Uh,
way out. Oh
oh
man.
dang, beautiful.
All right. Um. So
But
let's.
what
Okay, go ahead.
in the factory? I'm gonna skip a little ahead just for the sake of this. So in the factory, the pieces that they were building reference the ending cutscene.
Yeah,
So that's
we'll
what they were
talk about
build.
that.
That's what they were building.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I
Oh,
have the cutscene.
that's so cool how like
Yeah,
they
they
get you
tied that
so
in.
caught up in what's happening in the foreground that in the background that is they gave like importance to that as well, and you while you're watching it you don't even think twice. Well, I mean I thought
Like
about
what
it,
the
but I
hell they're
didn't like
building. Yeah,
after getting caught up in like them escaping. I like forgot about it, so it was
yeah.
like it's a pretty cool how they did that. Awesome.
Oh no, it was definitely
Yeah.
fantastic how they tied that together. I wanted to move on, and I kind of wanted to jump into our first speech. Now, Scallon Skarsgård character gets a message from one of his informants inside the Empire. And they're like, oh, they know that you're going to attack this place. The crew that you're sending is going to get wiped out. And he has a speech with his informant. He has this talk with his informant. And his informant at some point asks him, what are you sacrificing?
Mm.
And that was so beautifully written and done and portrayed. I was just like, I had to watch that like one or two times afterwards because it was
Yeah.
just so good.
No, I remember the scene perfectly. Once you were just like, "What are you sacrificing?" I was like, "Oh, okay."
But
I love how passionate he got. You could just
Yeah.
see how like it struck a nerve, but he was just like
Yeah.
trying to keep it together, but then he's just like let it all out.
but he also brings the point of like we as the pieces in this fight aren't important. It's about the results at the end, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, I wanted to play and yeah.
The double life, everyday performance, the stress of that. We need heroes, Lonnie, and here you are.
And what do you sacrifice?
Calm. Kindness, kinship. Love. I've given up all chance at inner peace. I made my mind a sunless space. I share my dreams with ghosts. I wake up every day to an equation I wrote 15 years ago from which there's only one conclusion. I'm damned for what I do. My anger, my ego, my unwillingness to yield, my eagerness to fight. They set me on a path from which there's no escape. I yearn to be a savior against injustice without contemplating the cost, and by the time I look down, there's no longer any ground beneath my feet. What is my sacrifice? I'm condemned to use the tools of my enemy to defeat them. I burn my decency for someone else's future. I burn my life to make a sunrise that I know I'll never see. Now, the ego that started this fight will never have a mirror or an audience or the light of gratitude. So what do I sacrifice? Everything! Just stay with me, Lonnie. I need all the heroes I can get.
Um,
Where is she?
I just love that he's man, that was something. But I just love the ending where he's like, I need you as a hero, blah blah blah, and thank you," and just closes the
We need all the
elevator
heroes.
door on him.
I
But
really love the particular line. The I share my dreams with ghosts. That is so just like
Yeah.
that line where
beautiful.
he's like,
And for a sunrise I'll never see. I'm like,
yeah,
he's really doing this for the
I use
future.
the
Like,
tools of my enemies against them.
Yeah.
That was
I'm
so
condemned to use
powerful.
them. Yeah.
Yes, I'm condemned to because the tools of his enemy is murder, deception,
Yeah.
like oppression, and he
Mhm.
has to use the same tools to get fighters and keep just like him.
Yeah.
He has to do this. Oh man, it's so It's I don't know, man. That was such a powerful speech. It was so fun to watch. It was so good. It brought a lot of things in perspective because in this instance, the rebels are the good guys, right? In other instances, the rebels are the bad guys, and it's a fine line of belief of what you're doing. Um, that brings these type of like speeches or just moments. And my God, I don't know, man. It's just both sides truly believe in what they're doing is correct,
Yeah.
and it's just no gray area. I mean, no black and white. It's just all gray area, and you don't know.
And that's just one hell of a monologue. So in high
Oh,
school, I'm not gonna say a teacher's name, but in drama class, I know you guys didn't take it. We would have scenes
hmm
that we would have to like reenact from the movies and stuff, and then you would have like scenes with different people. You get a monologue. I remember the first time I saw this was like, man, if I could have done this scene in drama class, my
oh yeah.
God, it was just like 'cause it was it's such a good Granted, I got to do Pulp Fiction, I was Samuel
Okay.
Jackson, so I was pretty happy about that.
Nice.
But
Say what again?
that's the scene I wanted to do, and I was like, "Hey, can I do Pulp Fiction? I know you're doing scenes. I really want the Samuel Jackson Pulp Fiction scene." He's like, "Absolutely, yeah, I got you." And he got me the scene with the wallet instead of the other one.
Oh,
I was like, "It's a
that's
great scene." But when I say the Samuel Jackson
yeah.
scene from Pulp Fiction,
Does
you know which one
Marcellus
I'm talking
Wallace
about.
look like a bitch?
Yo,
Exactly.
when he starts doing the Bible verse, like
Yes.
Mike, like
Ezekiel 25:17, the path of the righteous man. Like I
yeah.
know that. Like
Yeah,
like
exactly. That's so good. Like, why would you do the wallet? Like,
like the
there's
wallet's a great scene, an
yeah,
amazing scene.
but that one's
But
better. Ah, that's why he sucked. Um, so yo,
He's pretty successful though. I give it to him.
he is. I'm not saying the
yeah,
teacher's
no,
name, of course.
He
He's
turned
definitely
those. He
successful.
definitely turned those lemons into lemonade. And
yeah, good for him.
go do your thing, bro.
I don't know why I thought you were gonna say lemons into limousines. I'm like, I'm gonna start saying that. That's my thing.
I love you
Turn
too,
lemons into
Henry. I don't know
limousines.
why you're saying I love you, but I love you too. So, for let's jump into the second speech, and I think this might be Nemec if I'm not mistaken. Um, but yeah, let me play it and you guys tell me what you think. Uh,
Was that the letter?
yeah.
Yeah, that's Demek. At the
Okay.
end, right?
Yes. So yeah, so this was yeah. That's another one, man. That's another one that got me because I really loved the line that talks about freedom is something natural, and that uh like oppression and authority is so unnatural, and that you literally have to constantly work at it. And we've seen it so many times in history where tyrants, they always lose control.
Hmm.
No tyrant has ever held control forever.
Hmm.
Tyrants will always lose control. People will always get tired of it and rebel. And it's a story that we've seen throughout history, forever told. And this speech kind of brings this almost like a spark notes and like this super digestive way of understanding that
Hmm.
that what is it? Did he say oppression is the mask for fear?
Yeah. Oppression
Oh
is the myth
man,
of fear.
that's just so beautiful. Like the writing on the show had so many
Oh
levels,
yeah.
man. It was just like things like this. It's like what happened to the Mandalorian? Like why wasn't it this good? What the fuck? But yeah, man. Again, one of my favorite parts of this show.
No, it was great, especially at the end where it's like going off what you're saying, where it's just like it's like freedom is natural as opposed to oppression and authority and everything that's unnatural. And then he's saying it's like in the end, all we have to do is like every little bit we do, it's gonna advance us further. All you have to
Yeah.
do is just try, because at the
Yep.
end of the day, we are gonna win. It's you just have to put in the effort.
I mean, Yoda would disagree with him, but I
Do or do
think
not, there is no try.
yeah, but but I think he's on the right path though.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but it's so
Hey,
true though.
I
All
mean,
you have
who's right? The guy who died on a spaceship, like stealing all this stuff, or a guy who lived in the in the middle of the what is it? The wood? Not even the woods. The swamp
yeah.
by himself, just talking to himself, speaking to a fake ghost.
Yeah. Star Wars is wild.
This little
um,
puppet living in a swamp.
We should
Oh,
do like a Star Wars for Dummies like video. Just
God.
explain the craziness that happens in Star Wars. Just a little
I would.
It's still gonna make more sense than pro wrestling. Just want to point that out. Like by far, it's gonna make so much more sense than pro wrestling.
I think you're right.
Mm.
But
Nothing is crazier.
Yeah, yeah.
man, it was a very strong speech. It was wonderful, but the all you have to do is try, and every little thing that happens is another movement moving our line forward.
Yep.
It's just another way of the same thing Skellen said. You just gotta. I know what I'm doing now. I'm never gonna see the fruit of, but I know it's gonna help. So that's why I'm trying. And he's saying the same. He's saying something of the same, but in like this beautiful poetic way. And he's explaining the difference between freedom and tyranny. And my God, shout out to the writers, man, because holy shit, like I'm gonna be thinking about this for like a really long time. It's a nice thought exercise.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know. It was
I
very
do
beautiful.
wanna I do wanna take a guess as to because you said there was three speeches. I
Yep.
have to imagine the third speech. It's got to be Mama Andor's speech.
Oh fuck yes, man.
Yes.
What do you
Okay.
think, dude?
Okay.
I almost punched a hole through my computer after that speech, bro. I was like, I'm gonna fight right now.
It's funny
When
because
when
I would.
the when
Yeah.
the
Go ahead.
soldier threw like the coat or whatever to like block the hologram after she
Yo.
started going, I was like, get that thing off! I want her to finish that thing. Like,
So the funny thing
she was
is,
rallying the troops. That speech was crazy.
yo, the
Yo.
funny thing is, so I was playing God of War, right? And I was just like, all right, you know what? It's early in the day. I'm not doing anything for Thanksgiving. Let me order some Chinese today and have some leftovers for tomorrow. So I was like, I play God of War. My food gets delivered. I was like, perfect. I'm gonna eat my food. I'm gonna watch Andor. So I'm eating my food, and I ate a lot, so I'm just feeling like a mess, just disgusted with myself, just sitting there watching Andor. And then I finish it like around halfway into the episode, so I'm just dead tired. I'm exhausted. Then we get to the end, and she's giving that speech. I got up. I was like, "Yo, let's fucking go!" Like I don't care how tired I am. I'll eat some more ribs if I got to. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to
Let's.
fight some.
Whew, I hope I don't punch my screen now after watching it again. But what were you gonna say, Disco?
Uh, I had a bunch of Chinese food too yesterday. I had bought Chinese for lunch, and then for dinner, my mom's like, "Oh, we got
Oh.
Chinese food," and so I was just like, "Okay."
You
Don't you?
banged on
Don't you
Chinese.
I did not feel good after though.
Don't you
It was
ever
like
change Disco?
too much
Yeah.
MSG. Oh, it was just way too much MSG in my bloodstream. I was like
Oh man.
so tired after that. But
My
yeah,
God.
mhm.
Oh, so
Chinese
funny.
food.
Yeah, Chinese. Let's start this speech, dude.
I'm forever gonna think of Chinese food when I see this clip. When I see it.
Share
You have
this.
to put it, yeah, put it on the screen for anybody who's listening and not watching the YouTube version. Henry, like we just did this whole rant about talking about Chinese food. Of course, Henry goes in the chat. Yo, I'm eating Chinese food right now as I'm watching you guys.
Ooh.
General Tso's chicken.
You cannot go wrong with General Cho's, man. Oh man, quality. Mm.
Yo,
I
I
love
love
this
this
podcast.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
My goodness. Let's
oh,
get back to this speech. What were we gonna say?
we
You
had
fucking kicked the shit out of him.
Yo, it's funny because it's like so much has happened to this town. That's happened to Ferrix, and it's just like they're being oppressed. They're putting people in the hotel. People are
Yeah.
getting killed, and all this other stuff. They throw the thing over her so you can't see her speaking. And then the moment he flips the droid, everyone's like, "No, fuck that! You are
Yeah.
not fucking with the droid." The moment they
That's
flip
her
the droid,
droid.
an entire wreck just happened. Just like, nah, not him. He's been a
But
sad robot this entire show.
for real, dude. And that
for real.
robot has Alzheimer's like me, so I understood. I
He's
understood.
sad and he doesn't know why.
It was like especially sad at the end when he was like, "I didn't get to see you,"
Yeah.
and then he's just like, "Well, it's okay." But like Andor just totally brushed it
Yeah.
off. He's like,
He's like, I'll
"Damn."
find you. Like, you always say that.
It was so sad.
Yo, why are Star Wars droids have the most like emotion out of anybody? It's wild.
Whenever something happens to a droid, it's always a big thing. K2SO.
Yeah. For this speech, again, it ties into the other three beautifully. She's talking about being asleep and how this evil creeps and it gets stronger while you're asleep. And it reminds me of the great words of Superman: evil triumphs when good men do nothing.
Mm,
And being good is so hard because it's a consistent like battle against this non-wavering evil. And whenever, no matter how tired you are, you can't take a break because as soon as you take a break, as soon as you sleep, this thing just creeps in very quickly. And there's nothing easier than like evil. Um, you know what I mean? But just what more can I say? It's just such beautiful writing in these three moments in that culminated from the rest of the season into this wonderful crescendo.
mhm.
And my God, man, I don't know. I'm in awe of this. We spoke about how the first couple of episodes were didn't hit it for us, and at the end of the day, I'm okay with that
They were
because
necessary.
you're right, and I'm 100% okay with that because I'm happy that I was able to go through this journey and experience these last couple of episodes, and I cannot wait for season two.
Yeah,
Like this is has been the best Star Wars show released
easily.
ever. Yeah.
Yeah, easily. No, that's the thing, man. With those shows, like they started off slow. Like I'm still gonna stand by what I said, at the beginning,
Yeah.
where it's like, it was hard to get through, but like the whole reason for everything happening afterwards because of what stemmed with that heist. That heist was the catalyst, and then everything stemmed from there. You had that. You got to see a little bit of Saw Gerrera. On to be honest, I thought we were going to see more of Saw Gerrera.
Yeah. I think we'll
Um,
see more of him season two. I think that's
season
where he's
2.
gonna shine more.
Yeah. So that's Forrest Whitaker's character, Disco, if you're not sure. But yeah, so because it's like it was always like Saw Gerrera was always like the really like radicalized one as far as
Hmm.
we knew, looking at like Rogue One, and then you had like the animated series and all that.
Yeah.
And then it's like in this one, you see this dude, the Skarsgård dude, is like, oh, he's right there with him. It's like there's so many like they just had to go through so much
Hmm.
to just be the spark of the rebellion.
Yeah.
And and it's just like that's the thing with Star Wars. Like when you look at the first movie, it's like space magic and they have swords and all this other crap and going on. But like Luke was always just like, dude, I heard what's his name went over to the rebellion this, rebellion that, and then you're watching the movie, it's like, all right, who gives a shit about the rebellion? I want to see people fight with laser swords. And then it's like the Rogue One and this series and everything, they really showed you like even a lot of people hate on it, but even Solo, like that movie, they even focus on the rebellion a bit too where it's just like you get to see how important the rebellion is to Star Wars, like how much it matters, and how it just like the smallest moment truly can be a spark for the entire rebellion that eventually
Yeah.
does overthrow the Empire. But it's just going into that, which is probably the best era of Star Wars. Let's be real. Um, it's just seeing where it stems from is amazing. It's phenomenal. Yeah, I can't wait for season 2.
Sorry. One more thing I just gotta say. We didn't speak much about the scenes of the Empire that we got to see. They were powerful scenes. I really loved when they were sitting in the room talking politics, talking about how the security is going and this sector that. That stuff I've always enjoyed. I enjoyed it during Clone Wars, the animated show, and I enjoyed it here as well. There were very interesting characters from the Empire as well. It's just I don't know. None of them had speeches, so fuck them.
When we did the first time we did an episode talking about Andor, and I still do kind of like the character, not as much as I did in the beginning, but the one like straight laced, like
Cyril,
really stiff guy. What's his name?
Cyril.
Yeah, him. I did like him because
Sounds weird. Yeah.
he like you mentioned early on, Eslam, where it's like he's fighting for what he believes in, and from his
Yeah.
perspective, you go to the very first
Mm-hmm.
episode. Somebody who is a subordinate of his, or you could even say a coworker or something, was murdered, and he wants to get to the bottom of it.
He
Rightfully
wants
so.
justice. Yeah.
Rightfully so. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
you see where he's coming from, and it makes perfect sense. In his mind, he's fighting the good fight,
Yeah.
and he's doing it, by all, proper
I,
means to an extent.
I gotta shout out the lady.
Oh, great
Um,
actress.
she was so phenomenal in her role, and that's just what I just wanted to say that because that
Yeah.
scene when he pulled her out and she was freaking out because she thought she was about to die, and she's like, "I guess I should thank you." Her breathing really sold um, uh,
The
that
scene.
moment. Yeah,
I gotta
and
be honest, I hated that scene.
I enjoyed the hell out of that scene. Man, that was I was like, damn, that's crazy. How are you out of breath just acting? And I was just like, shit,
I mean,
good for you. I don't know.
she did get trampled like in the
Yeah.
scene. Like
Well, they
it
were
was
grabbing her. They
yeah,
grabbed her, and
but
he
they
ended
She
up.
was like
they
panicking.
also trampled her too, which
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would imagine like would lose your breath, especially when you're falling and they're fucking doing all these crazy stuff. But
Yeah, my
I,
thing isn't her performance. It's so much the scene itself, where he grabs her and she's like, "It's you," and then he's like, "Yeah, what's up?" And then she's like, "Oh, I guess
he's
I
like,
should
you were
say
in
thank
trouble.
you."
Yeah,
Yeah, and then I was just like, "It's weird." And at one point, I
he's
was like,
such a
Are they
simp.
gonna kiss?"
It's
I thought they were
ridiculous.
gonna kiss too. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was like, do it. Nah, I don't know. Do it. I don't
Now,
know.
you know what would have been a really good scene? Do everything exactly the same. I guess I should say thank you. Murders him right there on the spot. I told you not to follow me.
oh,
I
that
feel
would
like
have
Oh,
that
been
would have been
cool.
so much better.
that'd have been crazy. But they
I
probably
agree.
need him for season 2 or something.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sure they do. But
yeah,
like, how much more would that would have put her over to a whole nother level?
yeah,
That's some callous, cold hearted crazy.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's Cassian Andor. Get ready. That's what he's gonna become.
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
You saw
Yeah.
Rogue One, bro.
I don't know if I did. To be honest. If I did, I don't remember it.
No, well, you did because we talked about it. I was like the one with Donnie Yen. He's like, "Oh yeah, I saw that one."
Oh, that's the only scene I remember though.
That's why I said it like that because I know he was gonna be like, "Yeah, I did see it."
Yeah.
You're right. I just don't remember it. I only remember that scene.
All right. Anything else you want to say, Disco, before we watch the post-credit scene?
Uh, um, it's definitely got a lot of potential. I'm curious. It's kind of has like Game of Thrones feels where it's like don't get attached to anyone because everybody just dies, you know. But it's pretty cool. I'm liking the little tidbits of like you said, like the birth of the rebellion and how it could have easily just not happened if there wasn't so many dedicated people and so many powerful speeches to get the people, rising and taking to action. So yeah, I think the latter half of the season definitely saved it, and I would recommend it. But I feel like I have to put a side note. Like, if you're not a big Star Wars fan or have no experience with Star Wars, I don't think you're gonna like it at all.
I think the opposite, actually. I think if you're not a Star Wars fan and you jump into the show, it's a drama show, and it's a very well written drama show. And I think this could be an easier gateway into Star Wars than the space magic swords, and especially if you're gonna start them off with the original trilogy. I think this or Andor is a really good way of you could jump people into Star Wars who aren't interested because they're like, oh, this is stupid with lightsabers and blah blah blah. Show them this side of Star Wars, and I think they might enjoy it. But I guess it depends on the mentality of the person coming in
Yeah, I
with
could
the
see it
Star
coming
Wars.
both ways. To be honest.
Yeah,
I see both your guys' perspectives. It does make sense. It all depends on what the person's into, I guess.
yeah, 100%.
I feel like for me, what makes it cool is because I know how much these scenes impact like the future space magic. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like without knowing that or having any inkling of what Star Wars is about, it may I don't know, it may not. But like you said, it could go either way.
100%. Let's see this awesome post-credit scene. They're building the weapon that's going to be killing them pretty much, right?
Yeah,
They're building their own death,
yeah.
which is like holy shit. This is one of those things where
That's some
eh,
Nazi shit right there.
yeah, yeah, pretty
Which,
much.
let's be real, the Empire has been they're like they were not inspired, but they're like when George Lucas was writing, he was kind of like making space Nazis. Like that's what
Yeah.
is that's what the Empire really is, really.
Yeah.
But one thing I did want to point out with that scene, at the very end of that like specific scene where you see the Death Star like the ball, and then you see like the layers and everything going up, wouldn't that be like a sick logo?
Yeah. That is pretty cool.
You know, just put
I
that like
like
in
it.
the
I
corner or
like
something.
the it was a cool little image, like the engineering aspect. You see like the different layers of the
Yeah,
pieces. It was really sick.
yeah.
All right. Well, that is our review of Andor season 1. I can't wait for season 2. What I would like to see in season 2 is a little bit more of Saw Gerrera. I think season 2 is going to be mostly action. I think this season built up Andor going in um, to the rebels, and we're gonna see a lot more involvement from the rebel side. Most of this is still gonna be through the eyes of Cassian Andor, but it's gonna be more rebel missions and working their way up to Star Wars Rogue One. So
Mm.
I'm excited to see more of Saw Gerrera. I'm excited to see more of Stellan Skarsgård's character. I'm excited
Luthen.
to see Luthen, thank you. I'm excited to see Luthen. I'm excited to see how Mon Mothma has to flee Coruscant
I'm
because
very
she's been
curious to see
found
what's going to
out.
happen with Mon Mothma.
That is one of the most anticipated things, in my opinion, for me for season 2, because you see it building up. They've been building up the whole
Hmm.
season with the money and everything. So I can't wait to see how she's gonna be like found out and has to like dip,
Yeah,
and how that's gonna, and if Luthen is gonna be a part of it,
yeah.
or Andor, and
And
man, it's
her
gonna be
family, like,
exciting.
this is the first time we're ever seeing Mon Mothma's family. Like, what
Yeah.
happened with that? We never, as far as we knew, she was just like the only other woman in the galaxy that's not Princess Leia. Like, that's all
Yeah.
she was for a while.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, oh no, she has a whole family and a life, and look at how important she was. She was part of the Senate, so it's like, oh man, like I don't know, like how what what happens with that. Very very curious, but
Is that the
I am
one
gonna
that's like
the redheaded
showing
short hair,
showing her child her son to
Yeah.
the other?
her daughter,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was pretty interesting. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's it called? One thing I have to predict, looking at how like where Cassian Andor is at the beginning of Rogue One, where he's straight up just like murdering people on his own side, just to be like, hey, it's for the rebellion. It's it's for the greater good. You have a messed up leg. I couldn't save you. I got to kill you so you don't talk. Like that stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to see Cassian get to that level. And the only way I could think of that, it's like he either has to sacrifice or lose everything. And he still has some family and friends that are on that spaceship at the end of
Yeah.
Andor season one. So I'm assuming that he's either going to have to give them up, or is they're going to straight up not make it,
Yeah.
and it's gonna make him a lot more rough around the edges and get to the point where he's like, yeah, I'm all about the rebellion, any means necessary. So we'll see.
100%. That's going to be very interesting to see. Also, a lot of character growth coming, and a lot of uh, great writing that I'm hopeful for. So,
Hopefully, yeah.
yeah. All right, sounds good. Let's jump into some Power Bomb Weekly then.
BB Dub.
Yeah,
PB
yeah.
Dub.
I can't wait for the internet to start messing up.
It's about to get ready.
Don't jinx that shit. It's been going well so far.
Alrighty, so Power Bomb Weekly. So we're recording this on a Wednesday. Right now, AEW Dynamite is finishing. So whatever's happening, and I'm sure it's big, I'm not aware of. So I'm a little behind in terms of that. But what I can tell you is that they just recently had a pay per view. It was called Full Gear, and a bunch of things happened. One of which, including the return of the Elite, that being the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. Now they were in a trios championship match against the Triangulo de la Muerte, also known as the Death Triangle, and the Bucks and Kenny, the Elite, they were the first ever trios champions in AEW history. They had the whole incident with CM Punk backstage. They were suspended. They never lost the belts. They only won them. Never got a chance to defend them. Death Triangle won the belts, and they've been defending them. And they're an amazing team. Three phenomenal wrestlers. So seeing them go up against the Elite, we've seen it before in different variations. We knew it was going to be a spectacle. Now, when the Elite comes out, they came out second. And what happened was everything turns black. And then you see words pop up on screen talking about we are the fathers of time and the future. We are the sons of the past. This, that, and the other. And it says, we will carry on, carry on. Everything turns black. The clock that was ticking stops ticking. The lights come back up, and then you just hear "Carry on, my wayward son," and everybody
Love that
started
song.
losing their minds. The music kicks in, the guitar solo's coming in, the elite come out, they're doing their poses. The entire arena starts singing "Carry on, my wayward son," and it was amazing. They go out, and you could go to the next one, Aslam, I believe. Yeah, so I'm gonna finish up this one.
Uh
Go to the next one. So I'm gonna keep talking through. Let me know when it starts getting better.
Yeah, go keep going.
All right. So they go. They have an amazing match with a bunch of phenomenal spots, and it is a great song. Thank you, Henry. And when they're going out and they're having the match, the elite, it's their first match back, and they lose. Death Triangle cheats. They've been building up that. Are they going to get Penta? Are they going to get Ray Phoenix to cheat? They finally get him to do it. He cheats. He hits Kenny Omega in the eye with I think it was a hammer or a spike. I forgot what it was, and he pins Kenny, and they win. Then later on, it's revealed that they're going to be doing a best of 7 series. 6 of the greatest wrestlers in the world are going to fight 7 times in a row because it's the
Damn.
best of 7. So whoever wins 4 is going to go, but this is wrestling. We know it's going to go to 7. So
Hmm.
whoever, it's just one match after the other. We're going to see some of the greatest matches. And Kenny Omega goes on in detail here with this Wrestle Talk article. By the way, the first one I had up that was by Amanda Savage. This one's by Ryan Coogan. Kenny Omega says like you're gonna have 6 of the most creative minds in professional wrestling going at it again and again and again, 7 matches in a row. We're gonna produce like some of the best matches you've ever seen, and I fully believe it. I cannot wait. We're gonna be on a journey. Match 2 is happening today, and I missed it for you guys, for this podcast, for you people.
That's dedication. That's dedication.
that's love.
So before we continue, I do want to talk about a couple other things that did happen on Full Gear real quick at the pay per view. So
It's
there was,
happening.
yep,
Just let it go, Disco.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
there was this match. We had Saraya, formerly known as Paige in WWE. She came out. She had her first match back. She was doing great. We had a steel cage match to open up the show with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. That's right. They fought each other. Jungle Boy does come out on top and wins that. Samoa Joe now holds 2 titles, and the Ring of Honor World Championship was won by Chris Jericho in a phenomenal match. He's still Ring of Honor champion. The Swerve in Our Glory team did lose to the Acclaimed, who are still tag team champions. Jamie Hayter wins the in what's the word? The she's the women's champion, but the other one is hurt. I forgot what the term is, but anyway, she's women's champ. And yeah, so overall, it was an amazing pay per view. Sting, who's very old, was doing some things that an old man shouldn't be doing as usual. And you could go over to the next one, Eslam. Now, this was being
Damn.
chanted at at the pay per view. So this was during the Elite's match, very early into the match. Like I said, the Elite did have a backstage issue with CM Punk where they were fighting backstage. CM Punk, who's hasn't been seen, he hasn't officially been fired or anything like that. I believe he had new merch that just came out for AEW as well. But they did start chanting "Fuck CM Punk" at the arena in the Prudential Center of Newark,
Nice.
New Jersey. Just want to point that out. And yeah,
Let's
so
go.
they're chanting "Fuck CM Punk," which that crowd does like Punk. It was a little surprising to see. But yeah, this is an article by Amanda Savage. So you can go over to the next one, Eslam. But Kenny Omega did let the fans know, um, don't feed in to the CM Punk elite drama anymore. There's a lot that's going on. There's stuff that we can't really talk about. At the end of the day, we're all individuals. We want to do what's best for pro wrestling. Very diplomatic answer on behalf of Kenny Omega. But at the end of the day, it's true. At the end of the day, CM Punk, he's produced some of the greatest moments in wrestling history. So has Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. So you cheer who you want to cheer. You don't take it personal, obviously. But it is what it is. This is an article by Ryan Coogan,
Yeah,
by the
guys, this isn't real.
way. Don't say
It
that. Don't say that.
is real.
Still real to me, damn it. All right, and then shortly after, there was a match over in New Japan Pro Wrestling where Will Ospreay successfully defended the IWGP US Heavyweight or IWGP US Championship, still IWGP United States Champion. After that happens, everything turns black. Kenny Omega shows up on screen. First time Kenny Omega's been seen in New Japan Pro Wrestling since he left to go create AEW. And he challenges Will Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom 17, the
Damn.
biggest show in Japan, which is insane. We've always wanted to see Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega one on one ever since Will Ospreay's hit this new upper echelon tier that he's in. So seeing him one on one with Kenny Omega at Japan's biggest show, the return of Kenny Omega to Japan, my God, this is going to be amazing, and I cannot wait. January 4th slash 5th is going to be insane. This is an article by Amanda Savage on Wrestle Talk. Can I get the next one, Eslam? And then the last story I have, we did get a new champion at Full Gear. MJF, Maxwell Jacob Freeman, has finally won the world title. He beat John Moxley in very, very surprising fashion, not surprising to most. William Regal assisted MJF in defeating Moxley. William Regal, who was the manager for Moxley, he was the leader of the Blackpool Combat Club, where John Moxley's a part of. It was named after William Regal's hometown. So the way this storyline worked was you had Max. It looked like he was starting to turn babyface. He was a bit of a tweener. Kayfabe corner. Tweeter means you're in between babyface and heel.
Okay.
And so it was looking like, oh, Max might turn full babyface by the end of this match. And he's been referring to himself as the devil this whole time. And anytime he had a interaction with William Regal, William Regal's like, you're no real devil. I'm the devil. I've done more mischievous things than you've ever done in your career. I'm William Regal. I'm the best ever. And then everybody started to cheer for Max. And it's crazy. It's like, okay, MJF is getting cheers by people. How do you do this? In the end, he cheats. He apparently had William Regal in his back pocket the whole time. He beats Mox, and then it all just comes to terms. One of the most famous religious quotes is the greatest trick the devil ever made was making the people not know he was real. And that's literally what MJF did. He's just like, hey, I'm the devil, but I'm going to get you guys to like me now. And it
Yeah.
worked. And I was like, that's such good fucking writing in
Yeah.
wrestling. So it's like everybody was cheering. It was like, oh my god, we're cheering for MJF. They're booing Moxley. That doesn't happen. And this is the Prudential Center, so it is a wrestling crowd. And seeing that happen at the end, MJF does this. Then he gives his speech at afterward. They do like the backstage media scrum. He goes off and he's like, "You guys are fucking marks. You're stupid. You all believe that I was doing the right thing. Am I gonna do the right thing? Fuck you guys. You're idiots. I'm MJF. I'm the fucking devil. This is what I do." He calls Tony Khan a mark. He insults Tony Khan, and then he said what's starting to become a very famous quote. He said, "Thank you, fuck you, champ is out, I'm out, baby," or something like that. And he just walks out, and we got a new champ. So I'm loving the fact that MJF is our world champion. One of the youngest world champions in history. I believe he's 26 years old. Last person to do it that age was Brock Lesnar. Before him was The Rock, I think. So
Nice.
he's in good
That's
company.
awesome.
So we'll see. We'll see where his career goes from here.
Yeah. So Bruce Almighty creators reveal unnamed sequel, Brucifier, with Jim Carrey as
Is that,
Satan.
is that Brucifer?
Oh, Brucifer. I said Brucifier. Whatever.
Yeah.
Brucifer. That makes more sense actually.
It
I'm
makes a lot
tired.
more sense. I love
Yeah.
that they have the image from Ace Ventura 2 when Nature Calls, and they called him the White Devil.
The White Devil. Yeah.
They shoot him in the leg with the arrows.
Dude, if this is real, I can't wait to see it, man. Because Jim Carrey as the devil, because he was funny as hell as God, and him as the devil is gonna be even funnier.
Well, I remember checking out the article. They're not doing it. This was just something that they were talking about back in the day, and it never came to fruition.
Oh man, that sucks. I hope this happens. I hope bringing it into like this, because I mean, people need like these companies need content. So
I got you. I
if,
mean,
if
they
yeah,
they're gonna have to give Jim Carrey a lot. He is retired.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he's getting
That's
pretty old
true.
too.
But he did say Sonic 2 was like his last movie,
yeah.
and I think I want to say he did say like if he was gonna come back, it would be for Sonic. I could be wrong about
Oh, okay. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully this happens, but this would definitely be something cool to see.
that. Hey, you want a sequel? Just go watch Evan Almighty.
Yeah. All right. Chris Hemsworth is taking a break from acting following Alzheimer's revelation. Now, this is something that's really sad to hear, but apparently he did a genetic test and he had this one gene that leads to Alzheimer's from both his parents. So he got the same gene twice,
Hmm.
one from each parent. And apparently that's a strong sign for Alzheimer's. So he learned during an episode of his National Geographic show Limitless that he possesses two copies of the AP0E4 gene, um, one from both parents, which leads to a greatly increased chance for developing Alzheimer's. In response, he says, I'm going home and I'm going to have a good chunk of time off and just simplify. Be with the kids, be with my wife. And it really sucks because I really like Chris Hemsworth. He's a really funny guy. He was great as Thor. Even though I didn't enjoy most of the Thor movies, I enjoyed the comedic.
Great
Uh,
actor. Yeah.
yeah, I enjoyed the comedic aspect he brought to Thor. He's one handsome motherfucker. So yeah, this is really sad. I would never wish this on an enemy, let alone Chris Hemsworth. So, you know, but yeah, I really hope he never gets Alzheimer's. It's a horrible disease to battle, both for um, the person with the disease and the family around the disease. So
Yeah.
so
A good movie that kind of gives you an idea of it is Father.
mhm.
It's pretty
Anthony
much
Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins has it, and you kind of just see him progress pretty
Yeah,
much till he can't even remember anything. And it's crazy how like he kind of got deluded. Like he thought certain family members he would mix them up because the memories are just getting jumbled in his head.
yeah,
And it was that was such a good movie. Yeah, but like you said, it's sorry, it sucks, and hopefully science advances, and they could maybe do something
Yeah.
and on that front. But
yeah. 100%. I hope so. I keep hearing new things about Alzheimer drugs and therapies and such
yeah,
that could be helpful. So hopefully he never gets it. And the other hope is that if he ever does, God forbid, that science would have caught up where at least it's somewhat treatable,
Yeah.
or it could be under control. You
yeah,
know, so
slow it down or something.
yeah.
There was a video game a few years ago. I don't know if it was like a big studio or anything where it was supposed to bring like awareness
Hmm.
to Alzheimer's. But I mean, we already know about it. But for I think I want to say like whatever money they made like went to like profits for it as well. It
Oh,
was a
that's
cool
great.
concept where it was just like basically they did their best to reenact it. Like so you're playing as a person who has Alzheimer's, and then at one point it's like you're walking into your room, you walk out, you don't remember for what, you walk back into your room and it's a closet, and you're like, wait a
Yeah,
second, this is supposed to be my room. And then it's
yeah,
like all your memories are mixed up, you can't remember who's who you just spoke to, what you were just doing. And it's
yeah.
like a really cool way of, not cool, but I mean it's a really interesting way of showing how somebody is affected by that, you know.
And probably if you're playing it and you're confused, you'll feel a little frustrated, like these
Exactly.
people. Yeah,
An interesting thing from the movie though is at a certain point he got afraid when people would leave because like if once you leave he would forget who he was again, everything pretty much, and then he would
Yeah.
hmm,
have to like figure it out again and until like somebody else comes in and kind of like he has to kind of just kind of wing it
yeah,
every second of his life. It was really compelling movie if you guys get the chance.
yeah. Definitely. All right. Next up, Marvel's Blade hires Lovecraft Country director and shift to darker and grittier take on MCU. I'm somewhat happy with this move. I really enjoyed Lovecraft Country. It was a great show on HBO Max, and I think it's the right direction for a Blade movie. I'm just weary because this is like the second director. This movie's been in limbo for like a really long time. Who knows if Marshala Ali will even keep reprising his this role for them making him wait so long. But yeah, man, it's crazy, and I hope it happens. I was really looking forward to Marshala Ali donning Blade, but we'll see.
I really like the Wesley Snipes Blade, so I was kind of excited when they were saying they're bringing Blade back. Um, so I hope they could bring it back, and it's exciting and fresh, just like the original Blade was. That I was
Yeah,
obsessed with that one.
Blade was great. Yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna be me. They can go ahead and scrap this whole thing, I'll be fine.
um,
Typical.
Yeah. All right. James Gunn teases Mr. Terrific project. This is
Talked about this
exciting.
last.
What happened?
We talked about this last week, or I brought it up.
You mentioned it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I just wanted to
I got you.
bring it up again. So he teases a Mr. Terrific project. If you don't know who Mr. Terrific is, Mr. Terrific is one of the smartest men alive in the
The second.
DC. Huh?
That's the joke. He's the second smartest man in all of DC Comics.
Oh yeah, who's the first? Lex?
Somebody asked him that in the comics first. He's like, "Who's the first?" He's like, "I don't know. I just thought it'd be a cool thing to say."
Oh, okay. But yeah, he's super smart. His T spheres kind of do pretty much everything. He becomes a superhero. He's with the Justice League, and he has a really interesting story. And maybe James Gunn could bring it to life somehow, whether it's in a series or a movie. I think it would be, if he does it, it'll be an interesting take on the character. And this is a character, if he chooses to do it himself, uh, will kind of set the tone of how the DC EU will go, because we'll see how he does it. If he does it in the same way that he did Peacemaker and Guardians of the Galaxy, then we kind of know that this is going to be his style. At least if he ever takes on a character, we know what to expect. And if he does it in a different way, then we know that he can take a character and not have to do this, not do the same exact thing over, make it the funny dialogue, this type of thing. So
Show
we'll
some
see.
versatility as a director.
Yeah, and a writer. So this is all obviously speculation. I'm just, thinking out loud. None of this is set in stone, but it's an interesting thing to think about. And last but not least, James Gunn and Peter Safran have confirmed their 8 to 10-year DC timeline will be released in the next 2 months. So it looks like they have been working hard and hit the ground running on developing what the DC universe will look like. Now, I don't think we're going to get a timeline that has every single movie planned out with what it's going to be and how they're going to connect or not connect. And hey, we'll see what their plan is, and we'll judge it when it comes out. But that is all my news for today. Let's do final thoughts.
Sure. So I definitely want to talk about Jason David Frank.
Oh,
Uh,
that's right. I
yeah,
forgot to put that on my news.
it's all good.
Oh man, that hit hard because I'm
Yeah,
just like, God damn it, another '90s, another part of my childhood is gone.
yeah.
So, and it
He,
was a sad way too.
Mm.
Apparently by suicide. So
I was
it
reading an article. He was like having some arguments with his wife. His They're in the middle of a divorce, so it's been pretty rough. And cops were called to. Well, first they were told to quiet down by the hotel. After a while, they fought again, and the wife got locked out. He like locked her out, and after a while of not responding, she called the cops, and the hotel let him in, and they found that he had hung himself. Very tragic story, and
wow.
it sucks because he was the Green Ranger and he was the best Ranger. He was a huge part of, like, I'm sure a lot of people's
He was the
childhoods.
Green Ranger, the Red Ranger, the White Ranger, the Black Ranger, and Dino Thunder.
All the best
Um,
colors.
yeah,
It really was.
uh, yeah, man, he was a huge part of my childhood. I love Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I've watched the Power Rangers pretty far into like teenage years. I used to I watched Power Rangers Lost in Space,
Mm.
and a bunch of other ones. Lost Galaxy, really enjoyed that one. Time Force or whatever it was. I don't know, just a bunch of different Power Rangers. I kept with it for a while, and he would pop in every now and then. They would do like crossovers, and
Yeah.
they're always fun. But super sad to hear, man. I am. Yeah, it sucked. It's just like we lose Kevin Conroy to cancer before a week before, and then now this. I'm just like, I told Fernando, this is not good. This is starting to look like 2019 all over again. I'm not ready for this. Yeah, so
It's yeah, it's rough, man. Jason David Frank. the best Ranger. Disco, you said it best. He had all the cool colors that Eslam mentioned, and no man, it's just sad. It's just sad to see him go. I am rocking the Power Ranger shirt today. You got the Green Ranger right there in front.
Yeah. Actually, give me 1 second.
Yeah, but no man, it's just yeah. I already know which one he's about to bring down. This poster is sick. We did get it at Comic Con a couple years ago.
Yeah, man. So we got this piece of artwork from Comic Con, and it's, if you can see, the Power Rangers are defeated on the bottom, and then you have the Green Ranger kneeling down before Rita in a cave, and it was a really amazing artwork piece. And
It's
I
sick.
think I think this is yours, Dan, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it might be. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's one of my favorite pieces we've ever gotten from
Oh,
Comic
yeah, it's
Con.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
That's amazing. That actually
yeah.
looks so. That should be bigger and like a centerpiece since
Dude,
somebody's
we have
house.
so much good artwork in that room. It's insane.
yeah, yeah. I
Um,
pulled I pulled everything out, and I went through it to make sure it was good because
yeah,
some parts of my basement flooded, but
I got
just like a couple year back or so. But yeah, so I can take them with me when I move out.
you. Nah.
And you want me to ship you some of your stuff?
Yeah, I mean, whenever it's easy for you, it doesn't really matter when.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But nah, man, JDF like best Power Ranger. Seeing, I don't know if we got to like meet him at Comic Con. I remember seeing him a few times at Comic Con.
Dude, take your phone off the desk, bro. That
Yeah,
shit's
Disco.
coming in loud.
It's like
Go
But
for it.
yeah, I remember seeing him at Comic Con. I don't know if you remember the one time we went into a panel, and it was JDF, Jason David Frank. He had a panel like over next to us, and it was just like I don't know what it was. It was like we JDF, and we were at the one where it was just like how to copyright your like we
Yeah.
had the most
Yes.
boring panel, but it was so interesting for us. And then you just heard the other room; they just kept cheering over and over and
I
over
think
again.
he was doing some karate or something. Like he was doing something that was
So I
making
always
people cheer.
assumed. So if you ever watched the first time they introduced Tommy Oliver, and
The
he would
spinning
always
back
do that,
kick.
he just did the one spinning back kick over and over again. I just feel like he was doing the spinning back kick in that room for like 45 minutes, and they just kept cheering.
Yeah.
Like that's what I like to imagine it was. But no, it's sad to see him go, especially the way he went. I know he had kids.
Yeah.
He had an impact on so many people's lives. Unless I'm mistaken, I think he created his own fighting style. I know he was in
He did.
MMA. He
Yeah.
challenged CM Punk multiple times. um, but it's sad to see him go. So R.I.P. Thoughts and prayers to all his family and friends and fans.
Yeah.
Sad to see him
We're
go.
all hurting out here.
No.
Yeah, you never know what a person's going through. So hit up your friends, hit up your families, and ask what's up. Maybe that's all it takes. Sometimes it's a tragedy, and it sucks to see someone go this way in this fashion, and it always makes me think like, could there have been something else? Like, could they have done something else? Um,
Yeah, and if you have thoughts like that, or if you have any issues going on, just reach out to somebody. I mean, chances are, the first person you're going to talk to is going to want to help you. Everybody is always looking out for each other, really, at the end of the day. So,
Yeah.
if you ever have any problems or anything, just reach out to someone, or if somebody's reaching out to you, put some time aside and try to help them out.
yeah, or leave us a comment. We'll comment you back.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
Before we go, yeah, Henry's talking about the World Cup and how Saudi Arabia beat Argentina in a huge upset in their opening match, and apparently Saudi Arabia is making it a national holiday. Um, you guys know how I feel about Saudi Arabia.
Got to
If
keep
you've
that skeptical eye on them.
if you've been a long time fan, I always talk shit about Saudi Arabia, and fuck MBS. I'm just gonna say that,
Mhm.
and I'm boycotting the World Cup because Qatar used slave labor to build those new stadiums that everybody's gawking over
Hmm.
that are never gonna get used again. Because who the fuck is gonna go to that country just to play soccer again?
Well,
So,
I know one company that's going to go over there that's going to keep doing performances over and
uh,
over
I'm
again.
sure, like they do in
WWE,
Saudi, like they do in
WWE,
Saudi Arabia.
they put in how many shows a year over there now? Like two to
Yeah,
three.
But
So
yeah, I'm boycotting the World Cup. I haven't watched a single match so far, and I'm gonna try to my best to keep it that way.
it's not hard.
But huh? Yeah,
It's not. It's
that's
not hard to
you're
boycott
not wrong
soccer.
because I'm not really a big fan of soccer. I did enjoy the World Cup, but
Now,
it is what it
before
is.
a million people come at us, I understand that there's a lot of people that like soccer, but a lot of people like bad things. But go ahead. What were you
Football.
saying?
You're not wrong.
It's
Uh,
called the football.
yeah, it's
It's all
called the.
good. Yeah. I mean, I like wrestling. People shit on wrestling, so I get it.
Thank you for listening to the Los Wise Guys podcast. If you like what you hear, don't forget to follow us on our social medias. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, share it, and comment below. Let us know what you think of the season finale and the entire season of Andor. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. And go check out our website, loswiseguys.com. New content coming up every day. So, with that said, thank you for listening and have a great week.